Welcome to Vehicle Safety. We'll review a few driving safety tips and then talk about some local things you might encounter in the Corvallis area. Home Life owns several vehicles, so our auto insurance carrier requires us to provide some safe driving information. Please take a moment to print the Vehicle Safety Review Sheet to complete while you are viewing this PowerPoint presentation. Corvallis is a college town. For college students, it can feel like the entire town is part of campus. During the school year, you'll see people out on the street for fraternity or sorority events, games, concerts, or just crossing the street to get coffee. You might encounter someone dressed in dark clothing, skateboarding, or bicycling at dusk. There are plenty of things to distract you while driving, and often students can be distracted by talking with their friends or looking at their phone, especially on streets near campus.
What is distracted driving? Did you know that using your phone while you are driving increases your chance of getting into an accident? When you text and drive, you're taking your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. That's about the length of a football field, blindfolded. Texting while driving isn't the only thing that will distract you. You can be just as easily distracted reaching for your phone, making or answering a phone call, changing the music, using your apps, checking or posting to social media sites, or even taking a photo. Using your phone while driving can increase your chances of getting into an accident by 3 times. You also risk receiving a traffic ticket, which can make your car insurance rates skyrocket. One distraction can steal your reaction. Take back your focus today. Pledge to end distracted driving. #Mind the wheel.
Campus and community events take place throughout the year. You can get stuck in traffic if you don't pay attention to things like what time a football game gets out. Campus and community activities can also affect parking availability. Occasionally there will be an event like Fall Festival or the Saturday Market where some of the streets in the downtown area are closed off to traffic. In Oregon, every intersection is a crosswalk, whether it is marked or not. Drivers must stop and stay stopped for pedestrians until they have cleared the driver's lane plus the entire adjacent lane. A driver can be fined more than $250 for failing to stop for a pedestrian. When turning at a traffic signal, a driver must allow the pedestrian to clear the lane plus 6 feet of the adjacent lane. In school zones, stop and remain stopped for students as you are directed by a crossing guard. 1/4 of all pedestrians hit by vehicles are hit in crosswalk lanes.
Did you know that every corner is a legal crosswalk? Drivers are required by law to yield to pedestrians at all intersections, even if there is no marked crosswalk. So avoid a ticket and give pedestrians a break by stopping when you see someone waiting to cross, even if you're in a big fat hurry and that pedestrian is the slowest human on earth. Wait your turn and obey the law for pedestrians at all intersections. It's the street smarts thing to do.
When a traffic light turns from green to yellow, Oregon law requires drivers to stop unless it's unsafe to do so. However, you will see people running that yellow light. For that reason, when the light turns green, the driver should remain stopped for 3 seconds of green before starting into the intersection to protect against the cross traffic that might be in the intersections as their light turns red. Watch for this at intersections like 3rd and 4th Street, where traffic is coming into town or leaving town on Harrison and Van Buren Streets. The police department does sometimes monitor those intersections to make sure people are stopping on the yellow. We also have places in town where pedestrians can push a button to trigger a flashing yellow light at a crosswalk in the middle of the street. Stop if you see a flashing yellow light until you are sure that no one is in the crosswalk. Some of these crosswalks may be near school zones. In Oregon, you're allowed to turn right on a red light after you've stopped and checked for oncoming traffic. If you're turning left from a one-way street to another one-way street, you may also turn after stopping and yielding to oncoming traffic, as long as you're making that turn from the inside lane. Throughout the year, we have a lot of people visiting Corvallis that are new to town. There are also high school students, people learning to drive, and college students from out of the area. Be cautious when driving downtown where people may not be used to the one-way streets. At least once a year, I see someone pulling out in the one-way street going the wrong direction.
Signal and move into the lane closest to the left curb. Slow down and begin your left turn after checking for traffic. Turn into the left lane unless it's blocked within 30 meters of the intersection. Unless otherwise indicated, you may turn left from a one-way street to a one-way street on a red traffic light after stopping and yielding the right-of-way to pedestrians and other traffic.
In Corvallis, bicyclists are not required to ride in the bike lanes. When there's a difference in speed between roadway users, the responsibility is on the faster traffic to stay behind and pass when safe. Unsafe passing is the #1 cause of bicycle fatalities. Bicyclists are required to follow traffic rules, but they do have the right-of-way when they are in the bicycle lane and may ride in the bicycle lane in the opposite direction of traffic. Oregon law also allows bicycles to ride through an intersection at a stop sign without stopping after yielding to traffic. You might also see a sharrow or shared roadway symbol on the road. Sharrows are used to guide bicyclists on streets that do not have bike lanes. Sharrows recommend where it is generally safest for the bicyclist to ride, positioned toward the middle of the lane. This position reminds bicyclists to ride far enough away from the parked vehicles to avoid being struck by a suddenly open car door. There are parking areas near campus where you also have to keep an eye out for other wheeled transportation, like skateboarders, prior to opening your car door. The picture on the left is one of those areas on Monroe Street. Monroe borders the college campus, so you will see a lot of foot traffic in that area during the school year. Sometimes people might think they can bicycle home safely after attending a party. In Oregon, a person can get a DUI if they are intoxicated on a roadway while riding a bicycle, a scooter, a moped, or a riding lawnmower. There is a parking placard in each of the Home Life vehicles. This placard will allow you to park at one of the pictured reserved parking signs, or park at a meter without paying for up to 3 hours. Carefully read the parking signs around town. Most street parking near campus or the downtown area limits parking to 2 or 3 hours. Avoid parking at any signs that say permit parking only. Some reserved parking areas may indicate that you can park there on weekends or after 5 p.m. When paying at a parking meter, the vehicle is allowed to park at the meter only for the maximum time indicated on the meter. Meter feeding or returning to deposit more coins for additional time without moving your vehicle is not allowed. If parking on the roadway, park in the direction of traffic. Never block a sidewalk with your car. You can get a ticket for blocking a sidewalk, even if it's in your own driveway or a residential area where you're visiting a friend. If a curb is painted yellow, that is a no parking zone. The speed limit in school zones between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. is 20 miles per hour. There are several schools within the city limits, so it's likely you'll be driving that speed at some point on most routes through town when school is in session. Traffic speed is closely monitored, so pay attention to all traffic speed signs. There are large traffic fines for speeding in school zone areas. Drive the school zone speed whenever school is in session. If you see a sign that says when children are present, it's meant to capture those unpredictable times when students will be around, such as evening sports games or after-school activities. Never pass a school bus with red flashing warning lights. Now we'll talk a little about the local weather. We don't get much extreme weather, but there are a few things to look out for. The Willamette Valley doesn't get a lot of snow, so when we do have a snow day, people aren't used to driving in it. The county also doesn't have a lot of street cleaning equipment. Usually the main streets will get sanded. A common scenario would be for it to snow, then during the day the snow will melt, and then it freezes overnight, leaving icy areas in the road. The road may look clear or have a dusting of new snow over the ice. Be cautious in areas shaded by trees, buildings, under overpasses, and on corners where icy areas will be slower to melt. Rain is more common in this area. Rain can make visibility difficult, especially at night. The U.S. average rainfall is 38 inches a year. Corvallis has an average of 51 inches of rain per year. Please watch the video on the next slide for some tips on driving in the rain.
Because safety is the most important thing when driving a car, I thought I'd give you guys some tips on how to stay safe in the rain. First off is turning on your headlights. Even if it is daytime, having your headlights on allows you to see better and allows other cars on the road to see you better. I know it's counterintuitive. You're thinking, oh, it's noon, why am I turning my lights on? However, when it rains, it's usually darker and your visibility is worse. No matter how good you may think you are at driving, when it's raining, keep the traction control on. In this car, I always have the traction control off when it's dry because I'm familiar with the vehicle and how it handles at the limit. However, the second there is liquid on the road, turn it back on. It'll keep you safe and your car will get you out of danger. It's important to always check the condition your tires are in. If it's raining and your tires are bald, you're going to have no traction and it's very dangerous. So check the wear bars, figure out the condition of your tires, and if they're completely bald and it's raining hard, it might not be safe to drive your car. It's very important to keep all of your inputs smooth when you're driving in the rain. That means no stabbing the throttle, mashing the brake, or jolting the steering wheel back and forth. All of these things will get your car off balance, cause you to lose traction, and potentially have an accident. Speeding is one of the worst things you can do when it's raining. Braking takes longer when there's water on the road, and sudden movements of the steering wheel, like I mentioned before, can cause disaster. So please obey the speed limit. And sometimes, if the weather is really bad, you actually have to go under the speed limit. That is okay. If all of the traffic on the freeway is going 30 miles an hour because it's raining so hard that you cannot see, that doesn't mean that you should go 70 miles an hour because that's the posted speed limit. Keeping a large following distance from cars when it's raining is very important. Not only does braking take longer, if you're on the freeway and you're behind a big truck, water spray is going to come off from the truck or car and reduce your ability to see. So keeping a farther following distance is going to increase your visibility and increase the probability of not crashing if you have to stop suddenly. If you're driving on the highway or freeway, try to stick to the middle lanes of the road. This is because the side lanes tend to gather more water, and that will increase the chance of hydroplaning or getting out of control. I'm going to say it again, speeding while it's raining is incredibly dangerous, and it's going to put the lives of yourself as well as the other cars around you in harm's way. It's not worth it, so just don't do it. I hope you found this video helpful. Like always, please browse our channel and subscribe. If you have any cars you'd like to see us review or tutorials/videos you'd like to see us make, leave a comment below and we'll try to get on that. If you could like us on Facebook, that'd be great. Look forward to seeing you next time.
As you can see here, Benton County contains many rivers and streams. In heavy rains, water can accumulate on the roadways. Heavy rainstorms can also create road hazards such as tree branches or even whole trees falling down into the roadway. It's a good idea to check road conditions if you're traveling towards the coast, as mudslides have also occurred and sometimes block roadways. Flooding has also occurred in this area. These photos are from 2019. Your car can stall out in as little as 6 inches of water. I've even seen it happen as someone turns a corner after fall leaves have blocked a storm drain and water accumulated near a curb. If you see a road closed sign due to high water, do not drive through it. Remember, we are surrounded by water and people have lost their lives when their vehicle was pulled into the river. A foot of water will float most cars, and 2 feet of rushing water will sweep most vehicles, including SUVs and pickups. Dawn and dusk are key times that animals might be in the roadway. Here in Corvallis, you might see deer wander through town at all times of the day. If you see one deer run across the road, slow down. There might be another one thinking about doing the same. Other wildlife in the area that find their way into the road include turkeys, squirrels, and raccoons. If you are transporting someone who uses a wheelchair, there are a few safety guidelines to follow. First, use caution when loading the wheelchair into the vehicle. We had one employee who was wearing a hoodie and was in a hurry to get someone in out of the rain. When they went up the loading ramp, the employee hit their head on the top of the doorway, causing a concussion. Slow down and watch your head as you go up the ramp. If the individual can move from the wheelchair to the seat of the car, and the wheelchair can be safely stowed for travel, then the usual protection systems can be used. There are times when the person being transported needs to stay in their wheelchair for travel. In that case, use the following safety precautions. Position the wheelchair and the rider facing forward. You may need to adjust the front seats to create room for the wheelchair. If available, encourage the use of the headrest. This will reduce the risk of a neck injury in the event the car is hit from behind. Make sure the wheelchair brake is locked, and also the lap belt on the wheelchair is latched. You will see 4 tie-down hooks. Attach all 4 to the wheelchair, 2 in front and 2 in back. The tie-down hooks should be attached to the frame of the wheelchair. Avoid attaching them to any movable parts, such as the arm or foot supports or the wheels. The strap can be tightened or loosened by pushing down on the red lever. Be nice to the lever. If you kick at it and break it, the entire unit has to be replaced. There's also a knob on the side for additional adjustments. In this picture, notice the location of the lap and shoulder belt. This belt should be used during transport. The correct way to latch the lap and shoulder belt is to place it close to the body and through the hole in the arm support. The illustration shows that putting the belt over or around the armrest is incorrect. The shoulder belt should cross the middle of the shoulder and the center of the chest. Place the lap belt low, near the pelvic area and thighs, not on the abdomen. Now you're ready to go. We're almost finished with the vehicle safety training. On the next few slides, I have some forms to review with you. You'll find a copy of the forms to print in the document file. Home Life owns a total of about 28 vehicles. Each program is responsible for the regular maintenance of the vehicles assigned to them. The vehicles should be cleaned after each use and replenish any first aid supplies used. Regularly check the condition of the tires, that all lights are working correctly, and when the vehicle needs to go in for routine oil change. If other maintenance is required, document the problem in detail on a vehicle maintenance form. Make 2 copies of this form and submit one to the mechanic and one to the main office for our fleet manager, so he has the information if the mechanic calls. If you're driving your own vehicle, you will need to track mileage for reimbursement. Turn mileage forms into our finance department by the 1st of each month for the reimbursement for the previous month. The vehicles owned by Home Life are allowed to use the self-pump gas facility owned by the county on Avery Street. You will be shown how to use this pump by someone in your program. This is the place other county vehicles get gas, so don't be surprised if you see a fire truck or sheriff's car in line for gas too. Pull up to tank 1 and unlock the gas cap. Each vehicle is assigned a gas card. When you pull into the pump, you'll want to jot down the odometer reading. The machine that turns the gas on will ask for the card number, the pump number, and your odometer reading. It is important to put the correct odometer reading in, as the gas usage is tracked by the county and they will contact us if it's not correct. Once the information is given, the gas will turn on. Place the handle in the on position and put the gas pump into the car. It should click off by itself when done. Do not attempt to top off the gas. This could cause a gas spill. If there is a gas spill, report it immediately to the county staff. Note the number of gallons. You will put that information on the trip record that we will talk about in the next slide. There is a trip record sheet on a clipboard located in each vehicle. The odometer reading from the last use will be located on the line you will fill in for your trip. Place your initials, the initials of the supported individuals you transported, and the number of any other passengers. In the destination, you can list the places you are going. If you get gas, indicate the number of gallons. The number of trips is just how many places you went. You can use the one line for the entire outing. At the end of your outing, place the odometer reading on the next line for the next person to use. A cover sheet and 3 forms are located in the Vehicle Safety folder. The Vehicle Review form that you'll fill out along with the video. The Vehicle Policy form. Please read this form and initial next to each line, then sign and date it. And the Driver Status form. Fill in your driver's license number and expiration date. Most of you will initial the first line, indicating that you'll not use your personal vehicle to drive on behalf of Home Life, and once approved, you can drive our Home Life vehicles when needed. If you are unable to drive for Home Life due to driving violations or any other reason, you will initial the second line. If you have a position that requires you to drive your own car for Home Life business, you'll need to carry the minimum amount of insurance coverage on your own auto insurance policy. Those amounts are listed on the lower section of the form. Initial the third line and provide a declaration statement from your auto insurance showing the covered amounts. Once you've completed and submitted these forms to the main office, your vehicle safety class is complete. If you have any questions related to our driving policies, please contact our Human Resources Director.